but he's kind of like our Thomas Bach, but he is the USC Marshall School of Business Dean, Geoffrey Garrett.
Morning, everybody. Of course, I love the Olympic theme being Australian. And I'll remind everybody that if you weight medals by population, you don't have China and the US at the top. Now, Australia actually doesn't make number one. New Zealand did better than Australia this year. And I think, what was the country that had the women's sprinter and the male sprinter, 200,000 people, St. Lucia? They probably won the per capita, but Australia, obviously Australians are into sport. It's fantastic that not only that Paris, so much momentum coming out of Paris, but that, you know, we've got the opportunity and the challenges for LA in 28. And again, as an Australian, I'm looking forward to 2032 in Brisbane. I hope there'll be lots of people will make it to Australia for that. Look, I'm humbled and honored to be here representing the school today because this is an extraordinary event. You know, in Trojan land, we tend to use two fingers to communicate a lot. It goes like this. But in this case, I have to be very careful which finger I use. This is a sort of we're number one story with the Supply Chain Institute, not only in terms of how our degree programs have been recognized by all the global ratings agencies, but just because of the sheer impact of the Institute, not only in the United States, but around the world. And, you know, I think there are probably two reasons for that. The first reason is just the timeliness, the meet the momentness of this Supply Chain Institute. I mean, everything in the world runs through supply chains these days, right? I mean, terms like supply chain and logistics. God, you used to be a sort of geeky person that no one would want to talk to at a cocktail party if you said, hey, I'm in the supply chain business. But today, nothing could be further from the truth. And obviously, you know, we think about geopolitics, about advanced manufacturing, about sustainability, about technology, and all of those things converge in the world of supply chain. So, you know, I think the fact that this supply chain summit has grown so much in the past 12 years is not only a testament to the quality of the people involved in the institution, but also just the sheer brilliant timing of its creation as the world of supply chain has pervaded more and more things in our world. So that's the first reason I think the Hendrick Institute is number one. But the second reason is the people, and to be following Nick and Jean and Randy to this podium, as I said, is genuinely humbling for me because they are extraordinary people in their own right, doing amazing things. Randy was just talking a little bit about his vision for this incredible, sustainable, advanced manufacturing hub in Central Texas. I've had the great good fortune to be toured over the site with and by Randy. It's going to take a while, but your vision and your commitment, your genius will make that happen, and it's going to be a simply extraordinary thing. And by the way, you know, look in the press, and we see a whole bunch of famous, you know, tech billionaires who say they're building their own city. I'm not a gambling person, but if I was betting in this case, I'd be betting on Randy. Not on Elon Musk or whoever else wants to build a city of the future. So Randy's amazing. Having him as such a core part of the Trojan family is a blessing for us all, and having him here today is tremendous. Gene Soroka, I always say to Gene, it's true. I'm in awe of how good a politician this guy is. He has one of the hardest jobs in the world. And every day he does it with grace and distinction and with leadership in a way that I just find awesome. And I've seen Gene behind podiums like this, in small rooms, leading board discussions. I've seen him with students To have somebody like that who is got a kind of a big day job, the fact that he's willing to spend so much time with and for us at USC is just fantastic. So thanks a million, Gene, for that. And last but certainly not least, Nick Vyas is a force of nature. Obviously, you all know that, and the amount of of Nick's heart, mind, soul that goes into the Institute is without limit. He's always doing more. And, I think you all know a lot about the footprint of the Institute in Southern California and in the United States, but it's truly a global institution. So I want to tell you a story that maybe some of you know. Gene knows, he was there. Carol Folt, the president of USC, wanted to go to India, where USC has a lot of alums. But to make it work, we needed a really big event. We needed to put on an event halfway around the world in Mumbai. I think it is literally halfway around the world. And the person that Carol turned to make it happen was Nick. And we had an event, kind of the scale of this event, in Mumbai in August. Was it? No, it was in the. Do you remember when it was? I'm sorry. I'm just terrible with dates. It felt like it might have been 6 years ago, 6 months ago. That's right. It wasn't in the monsoons in Mumbai, so it had to be in the winter, in their winter. But just being part of an event like this in Long Beach today, just imagine doing exactly the same thing halfway around the world. And by the way, we're not stopping there. We're going to do a big, Mexico. The challenges and opportunities for Mexico in the coming decade are incredible. An enormous amount of that is going to have to do with how they manage supply chain, both the connectivity to the US and connectivity to Asia. And so having a supply chain event in Mexico City in the spring is going to be a great thing. And Nick and I have been talking about, Randy, you've got big aspirations. I think one of the few people who has aspirations at a similar scale of yours is Mohammed bin Salman in Saudi Arabia, who wants to emulate you by building this thing that he's calling NEOM. And of course, NEOM's going to be about ports and supply chain and everything else. And Nick's been really instrumental in our initial efforts to sort of think about ways we might be involved in that project. So I'm going to stop speaking now by just saying that ending where I started and getting to the last point. Ending where I started is, it's fantastic that you're all here today, and it's just testament to the importance of the Institute and this conference to our world. And to have the best supply chain program in the world at USC is it's just an incredible honor for us, and nothing could be more important. Last sentence, and none of that would have been possible without Nick Vyas. So Nick, massive shout out to you. Are we going to do some book plugging? And because of the commitment that the Institute has, not only to convening interactions with industry, but to making sure that global best practices improve in supply chain, the Institute and Nick are in the thought leadership business, which in this case is represented by a book. I'm sure no one can, Randy, please don't hide behind me. And please, and jump in at any point. If you want to riff on me, I mean.
No, you're doing a great job, as always.
It's very kind of you to say that. He got paid to say that, so don't believe it. But this Nick, with two co-authors, one of whom is here, my friend and colleague Grace Sosich is here, doing a book on supply chain network design that's got all of the keywords of today: resilient, agile, sustainable. The fact that we've got Zebek, and I don't know whether everyone can see that, and the USC Marshall School on the cover of this book,
It's awesome.
Is just a perfect testament, I think, to the incredibly strong relationships and very powerful partnerships that have been developed. So are we going to try to do a photo op? Nick and Grace, do you want to talk about the book? What are we going to do?
I did want to say something,
Oh.
Gene, about the importance of books like this and
Go for it.
education. I'll take you back to 2013. And I was in the process of moving ZBEX headquarters to Dallas. And I had just put under contract 580 acres outside the UP Intermodal in South Dallas. And a friend sent me a book. It was called Logistics Clusters. It was written by Dr. Geoffrey, the head of logistics for MIT. And it just crystallized so many thoughts that I already had. But it did such a great job of succinctly explaining what's going on in the world with logistics clusters. The supply chain is a key part of these logistics clusters. And there's also technology clusters that are happening around our country. You know, I'm in the middle of that in Central Texas, and the new Samsung chip plant that's being built in Taylor, Texas, a $45 billion project. And so anyway, I commend these guys for getting these books written, and it's really excellent information. So hope y'all read it. Now, I've told everyone in my company that comes to work for me, I said, you have to read 3 books. You have to read Secrets of the Temple, it's the history of the Federal Reserve. You got to read Logistics Clusters, and you got to read the box. No one's ever gotten through Secrets of the Temple, but they have gotten through the other 2 books. So all those books are great. But anyway, Nick, thank you.
Thank you. Can we get a good photo of that?
Yeah.
Liz?
Yeah, right here.
Okay. How should we position ourselves? Crazy. You guys go in the front. We'll go in the back. Very nice.
I got to tell you, I didn't know I'd be getting a book for free here. I went on to Amazon a couple of weeks ago and I bought the book. I'm about a third of the way through it. It's really good. It's really good. So I encourage everybody to read it. And we need to cut the dean a little slack on his seasons being off, because right now it's winter time in Australia. So, you know, he's constantly having to deal with that. So